Hello everybody, welcome to this edition of the Coaching Conversation. In this series, we're looking to help business owners, business leaders see how coaching can help them and their teams be the people they want to be, achieve the things they really want to achieve in their life. We also aim it at fellow coaches. What we're really looking to do is to show them our experiences and hope that inspires them and helps them develop their own skills and practices. I'm Graham Wiley. I've been coaching business leaders and business owners around the world for the last 2 decades. Nothing more to say now other than get ready, get comfortable. Here comes this edition of the Coaching Conversation. Hello everybody and welcome to this edition of the Coaching Conversation. Our topic this week is the magical subject of work-life balance. And I think in almost every coaching program I'm involved in, this comes up to a greater or lesser extent. And I think it's been very interesting that the pandemic seems to have given people pause for thought to rebalance their lives and think about the things that really do matter. And we've got examples of that with hybrid working and people now committing to work from home and so on and so on. And in preparation for this session, I was looking for someone with some exceptional experience in managing their own work-life balance. And here we are with our guest this week, Kim Klelund. Kim, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, thanks so much for having me today. I am a coach. I am an interior designer and expert. I'm a speaker. I am a podcast host in the future, I hope. And I also facilitate a lot of workshops and courses around lifestyle, interiors, and well-being too.
Well, that's quite a few things to juggle, isn't it?
It is a few things to juggle, but in fact, I actually find that having these different streams, let's say, of income is one way for me to actually be able to plan my life better. And planning didn't always come easily to me, but I've learnt with age that structure and planning actually gives you a lot of freedom. And it allows room for what's really important in your life. So from a self-proclaimed, fairly chaotic person in the past, I have changed very much the way I am and created a lot of freedom in my life because of that, because I can plan in coaching sessions, I can plan in workshops, I know what's going to happen, I know the system that needs to be put into place, if it's online or in person. And I found in the end that the interior design work I was doing, just the project work, you and I both know from our interior design experience that projects can go on for a really long time and unexpected things happen. And that for me actually wasn't very congruent with having a young family anymore, and being the best version of whatever mum I can be to my kids. So that's one of the reasons why I've moved into other areas over the last couple of years.
And you don't make it easy for yourself either, do you? You are currently talking to me from Berlin, but you don't just reside in Berlin, do you?
Not quite. I mean, most of the time, because I have 2 children, 2 girls, they're 7 and 9, but I'm Swedish. So I spend a lot of time there as well. During the pandemic, it was actually really the lifeline, being able to go there and having support from my parents. So I worked remotely for 9 weeks during the first summer of lockdown or of COVID. And again, the array and the way that I'm able to work now means that I can be in other places. So last week I was in Stockholm for a week and made a workation out of it whilst visiting my parents or my dad, in fact. And later in the year I'll be in other places. So I have a strong connection to my main 4 places are Germany, Sweden, England, Italy. I think, yeah, that's 4, right?
As I said, you don't make it easy. I love the word workation. I've just nicked that. That's mine now.
Yeah. There's a
When
sorry,
we
no, I was
think
just gonna,
about trying to make these choices of
yeah,
work-life balance, and particularly as a coach when you're trying to help somebody else who's struggling,
yeah.
what are the priorities for you? How do you get things in order?
So one of the best practices that I've learned over the last years is self-reflection and asking questions. And there's a couple of ways that I do this. One has been through journaling, which has been an immense, I'm almost getting goosebumps talking about it. It's been an immense resource for me from having been stuck in a mindset of you're not a writer, because I realized through my own coaching journey that there was a school teacher who told me I wasn't particularly good at writing. And so I never did writing for anything really, like it was even a struggle to make my first website happen. It's like, oh, I've got to write about myself. Oh, so much discomfort and resistance going on there. And actually journaling, in case people don't know what that is or what it could be, is basically it's a place where you can plan, it's a place where you can reflect, it's a place where you can ask yourself questions, you can scribble. And the few things alongside the sort of mindset of I'm not a writer, that was sort of stopping me, was this insanity for bullet journaling that I saw on Pinterest. All these beautiful, perfect looking journals. And I mean, really, I looked at that and I was overwhelmed. It was too much for me. I was in a place of overwhelm, let's say 4 or 5 years ago. And when I started to become conscious about this is not the life that I want, this is not the life I want to look back on when I'm 80 and go, wow, that was a good life. We all have the ups and downs, and the shit will hit the fan for all of us at some point, and that's fine. But the essence of it was not what I wanted. So asking these questions, something like, what felt really good this week? Where did I have resistance talking to a particular client? What is my intention for this week? How do I want to feel? How can I look after my health? What are things that help my well-being? So now I've not started fully bullet journaling, but I've done a health tracker, because I've realized that there are some habits which aren't even, I know I can talk the talk, but walking the walk is always more difficult, right? And so getting these habits in place, it's a place for me to look consciously, not every day, but almost every day, and just see, did I do that thing to make myself feel good? Did I get enough sleep? Am I prioritizing that? Because my health depends on it. And if I don't have my health, I have nothing. So yeah, that's been a really essential part of it. And I think in the terms of work-life balance, you can very rarely do everything at one time. You have to sort of simplify it and get to a point where what is the one thing which is the biggest burden for me right now. Is it my boss? Is it trying to cook healthy meals for my kids but feeling guilty and not having the time, and then it not happening, and then me getting angry at whatever it is, so I try to never take more than sort of 2, possibly 3 sort of areas of my life at any one point to focus on, because that is manageable, and all the other stuff around is obviously still happening. It's not like it falls to the wayside, but it's not the main focus.
So, as a coach, and your experience of journaling, is that one of the key thrusts of how you help your coachees? You show them how it works and how they can use it?
I do love to share the tool of journaling. Sorry, yes. But like I said, it's been an immensely valuable tool for me, and grab just what mine looks like, because it's not a diary. It's as simple as a reminder, you can do this. Or I let my kids, draw in it every now and again, and then I open a page and I have a little picture from them or something. Or it's questions, but there's a, let's get rid of the perfection, and let's use something like this. And I have through my workshops and other sort of worksheets that I have with my clients, and I can offer them a resource there where they can use these questions which have helped me. And normally once you start, then you get into a flow yourself anyway. So
your coaching practice per se, does it have a mainstream focus? Is there should we say a sweet spot or an ideal client? How does it work for you?
Well, in terms of my designer aspect, I call myself both a holistic life designer and a transformative life coach. So for me, a lot of my clients are in a point in their lives where, as me a few years back, they are at a point where something needs to change. And to some extent, they don't know exactly what that is. They can't pinpoint that. So that's where the coaching starts. It's a sense of, I've done well, I've had success, things have happened, but still there's not full alignment. There's not happiness. There's not ease and flow. It's like rush, 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 here. It's everything is reactive instead of proactive. So a lot of my clients are, on top of being international, like a very wide plethora of nationalities. I work in English and German. Swedish is actually the hardest for me because my day-to-day Swedish is great, but my coaching Swedish is maybe not ready yet. Something to practice. But it's definitely people who are ready within themselves for some transformation, for some changes to happen. And that can be in their private lives. It can also be in a more executive business sense. I've got so far in this job, but it's not quite fulfilling anymore. And my life circumstances have changed, be that, something with your family, where you moved and so on. And it's an amazing thing to be able to help people on this path, guiding them to somewhere where they feel a sense of wholeness, let's say, of just I know where I am, and I know who I know who I am, and I know where I am, and I know where I want to go, even though that path can take many different ways, but you've set the wheels in motion.
Yeah, certainly when I look at the kinds of examples I have in my coaching client base, often the work-life balance issue doesn't start, or the conversation doesn't start like that. It starts with, I'm not coping. It starts with, I'm not happy. It starts with, I'm under stress. And the reality is, if you can help them move to a position where they feel that they're in control, and that's where planning comes in, it's where time management comes in, it's where being disciplined and getting the right priorities comes in. But once they start to feel that they're back in control of their life, or more control of their life, that's when the peace of mind starts to come in, and they do start to make good life choices. They do start to prioritize correctly. So it is interesting that we are perhaps using different techniques, but we're ending up very much in the same place, which is people taking back control of the choices that they're able to make in their lives for themselves. And
absolutely.
And what is interesting, and then I work primarily with business owners, business leaders, is that their performance goes up, which is so obvious really with hindsight, but for them at the time, they're so busy being busy, they're so busy being under the cosh that they don't get that bit. But it comes in that, you use the phrase ease and flow. That's exactly what starts to happen. They get into a more comfortable place and they just perform better. It's it's a very interesting thing. I understand that. What are
Mm.
your ambitions for your coaching practice? Do you want to carry on as you are, or do you want to see it evolve and develop further?
I think it's going to take me to some places that that I can't even imagine right now. To be honest with you, and that's something that I'm excited about. I don't have a problem about the unknown. For me, I I know a few things that I would love to do, and which I feel very strongly connected that it is easy for me. It is ease. So one of those things was that last year I used I was in a TV program as an expert on interior design, commenting on something, but I would love it if that maybe came to something else. So to make that happen, that's my intention. That was fun. I don't know if I'm good at it. Maybe when I start doing it more, I'm going to be terrible, and I'm going to be terrible 100 times. But maybe when I get over 100, I'm going to be halfway good. So to make something like that happen, I've decided with an interior design colleague that we will start just making small videos about including our interior and our real life, and talking about this personal development journey, and both two business owners, and we are two very different characters as well. He's Hungarian, end 40s, gay, no children. I'm a mum. I'm Swedish. We're in Germany, two kids. So kind of different in that sense, but we as people really join. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to develop and just see where that takes me. The courses and workshops, I feel, is a almost like a gift I can give people, because I love connecting people as well. So I always somehow manage, I'm a connector, like that seems to be me. So I connect an interesting group of people together through these courses, through these workshops, and can offer my knowledge and support and guidance to a greater audience. And I have also started hosting talks as well, which is something I find really exciting, again, to create a platform where people meet. I do it in an intimate space in my home, and I call them Kim Talks. And the Kim Talks, I'm a big lover of the TED Talks, but I find that whenever someone who is an expert in something offers their knowledge, you always resonate with something, and you're like, oh yeah, I know that bit, and I have an idea about that, or I have an experience or connection. So when I thought about that, and post pandemic, I was like, oh, I need this connection and like deep diving. Like I'm so done with this superficial, my life's so pretty, everything's fine on Instagram, that's just not real life. And I'm quite candid with my own life. I don't mind sharing it, because I think that's just me. I'm not ashamed of anything that's happened. It is what it is. I stand by it, and so to create this space and make it sort of like a TED Talk meets supper club meets women's circle, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I played this back to you, I have no idea how you possibly fit anything into a day, let alone having a work-life balance. And here sits somebody who, equally like you, has a work life that's very multifaceted. I do more than one thing. Coaching is a big part of that, but it's not the only thing I do. And it's very interesting to meet someone who's equally stretched as I am, because I actually get satisfaction from the variety. I actually enjoy the different stresses and strains of the different challenges, and I find it rejuvenating rather than draining.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see that, because I think a lot of the stress that we see, a lot of the work-life imbalance we see, is because a lot of people aren't, they're on a treadmill. They're doing the same thing or similar things continuously, and they don't find themselves to be curious. They don't find themselves the opportunity to explore the new. And as a result of that, it wears them down.
Mm.
And they have to,
Yeah.
as we said a while ago, getting back in control enables them to reprioritize and perhaps fold other things into their life that they'd otherwise previously excluded, hence the phrase work-life balance. So it's an interesting thing to listen to someone who's as busy and as stretched and as challenged in different ways as perhaps I am. I find that's very, very insightful, very helpful.
Yeah.
Kim, you are based in Germany. You do travel around, and Europe mainly, but you do travel. If any of our audience wanted to reach you, what's the easiest way to get hold of you?
So I have 2 Instagram handles. One is at House of Lund, which is HAUSOFLUND, which is more my interior design stuff. And my personal development playground, as I call it, is Kim Talks, which is Kim_talks_. And my website is kimklelund.com, and I'm sure you'll share how that's spelt as well with the details. But that's where you can find me. And
are you also on LinkedIn, Kim? Can we find you?
I am on LinkedIn. Just my name, Kim Klelund, Klelund, is where you will find me on LinkedIn as well. Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time today, and I appreciate fitness in. And I hope all of our audience are grateful for it as well. And here's to the next time. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Cheerio. Bye-bye. So there you have it. That was the latest edition of the Coaching Conversation. Hope it was useful. Hope it did what it was meant to do for you. If you want any more information about our coaching practice, it's at the executivemindset.co.uk. While you're there, you can book your own free session, which will give you a much deeper insight to what coaching can really do for you. If you enjoyed the session, please give us a good rating. And if you want to reach out for further information, do email me at theexecutivemindset@sagegreen.com. That's about it for this time, and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.